All right, I wrote a script, so I'm going to be looking down here, just in case you care. After a 15-month campaign of brutality and extermination, Israel has finally agreed to a ceasefire in Gaza. The long overdue cessation of violence, brokered with the assistance of Egyptian and Qatari mediators and backed by the United States, is set to commence on January 19th, 2025, a few days from now. The agreement includes a 42-day halt in hostilities and the release of hostages held by Hamas in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Well, they're hostages too, let's be real. So, hostage exchange. The first phase will see Hamas releasing 33 hostages in return for hundreds of Palestinian hostages, with Israel withdrawing its troops to a buffer zone. Buffer zone, okay. While this ceasefire brings a little glimmer of hope, it's impossible to overlook the devastation that has already been wrought upon Gaza. The Strip lies in ruins, with over 46,000 Palestinians killed by the most conservative estimates. I've seen the numbers as high as 300,000. It may be years before we know the actual number. We may never know the actual number. The victims have predominantly been women and children. Countless others have been displaced as their homes and their schools and their hospitals have been bombed into smoldering piles of rubble. The humanitarian crisis is staggering, and the physical and emotional scars will, of course, endure for generations. That is, if Israel doesn't do worse stuff in the meantime, which it's almost assuredly going to. One cannot help but question why this ceasefire didn't occur sooner. In fact, I would question why this Israeli rampage was ever justified in the first place. The attacks of October 7th, while bad, of course, do not justify the wanton slaughter of civilians by a government that enjoys U.S. financial and logistical support. Whatever you feel about the situation in Palestine, it is inarguable that the delay has cost thousands of innocent lives and inflicted immeasurable suffering. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, shifting conditions and political maneuvering, has been justly, in my mind, criticized for prolonging the conflict in an obvious ploy to maintain his grip on power, and war has always been useful for that. So when they sing that song, war, good God, yo, what is it good for? The answer is not absolutely nothing. The answer is the furtherance and maintenance of power. Meanwhile, the political jockeying in Washington is nothing short of sickening. Both President Joe Biden and President-elect Donald Trump are scrambling to claim credit for the ceasefire. Biden, who is, of course, nearing the end of his term, has announced the deal, but he has refused to acknowledge Trump's role despite the latter's intensified pressure on Hamas, at least according to Trump, who has been very vocal about his involvement, claiming his team played a crucial role in the negotiations. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But that's what I've seen reported. This unseemly scramble for accolades comes after both of these guys have consistently and vociferously supported Israel and turned a blind eye to the plight of Palestinians whose blood is on all of our hands. I don't exempt myself. The sudden eagerness to broker peace at this juncture feels completely hollow and disingenuous. The devastation in Gaza has already reached catastrophic levels. Gaza is basically a smoldering pile of rubble. Everything has been destroyed, so of course now there will be peace. Biden and Trump both get to take credit for this peace in the eyes of their bases. Netanyahu gets to keep his grip on power. Israel got to clear out lots and lots more land for the grabbing And you know that land grab is coming. And once again, the people of Palestine, who have virtually no political power whatsoever on the world stage, they lose again. Don't get me wrong, all right? In the end, the ceasefire is good. It is a welcome respite. But it serves as a stark reminder that the powers that be in this world remain unhesitant to ascend piles of broken and bloodied bodies to seize and maintain dominance. Republicans, Democrats, U.S. government, Israeli government, none of them showed the least little shred of humanity or empathy or compassion or reluctance in the face of this nightmare. And you know, it never fails to strike me as odd that when a maniac like Jeffrey Dahmer kills 17 people, everyone is supercharged with righteous indignation and punitive rage. But when geopolitical leaders slaughter people by the truckload and create incalculable human misery, the reaction is so comparatively muted. Dahmer had the excuse of being mentally ill. He killed out of a dark compulsion, but Biden and Trump and Netanyahu kill calculatedly and for power and in much greater numbers. And yet many people will justify their actions. And I'm tired of hearing about how complicated this matter is, because it's not complicated at all. Powerful people killing powerless people in order to get more power. That's what's going on here. It's exceedingly simple. People choose to complicate it in order to obfuscate that uncomfortable truth that I just laid out very fucking succinctly. I don't care about the history of the region. I don't need a history lesson to know that slaughtering civilians by the truckload is wrong, actually. And this is both sides, baby, both sides of the American political spectrum. The bloodthirst is bipartisan. I know many of you guys have not delved into the horrors of what happened in Palestine. Maybe you've read about it, but I don't know how many of you have watched the videos of men carrying out the hollowed out husks of their own children with tears of agony streaming down their faces, 1,000-yard stares. I recommend you do it. Not enough to get desensitized, but enough to get angry, because I don't think we should ever be unaware of those horrors. And if you want to say that's an emotional appeal, by the way, go ahead, because it is. You're absolutely correct. That is an emotional appeal. We are emotional beings, and to disconnect from that fundamental truth is to fundamentally deny our humanity, which is, of course, how atrocities are justified in the first place. First, we make ourselves inhuman. Then we dehumanize others. Then we slaughter those others. And the whole affair is just wrung completely clear of humanity. It's gone. There's no regard for our shared humanity. We're inhuman because we've hardened ourselves. They're inhuman because we've dehumanized them. And so it's just inhumans slaughtering the dehumanized. But that's just narrative. That's just fiction. That's just feeble obfuscation. An attempt to sanitize the situation, to make it complicated. Because the reality is, it's just human beings killing human beings for profit, for power, for geopolitical bullshit. I hope this ceasefire lasts, but I know it won't. This pattern has become all too entrenched in that region of the world. A group of Palestinians will eventually retaliate against Israel, and then Israel will respond with overwhelming violence and feel completely justified in doing so. And these same tired arguments will play out once again, and that'll probably keep happening until there are no more Palestinians left to slaughter. Because, I mean, isn't that clearly Israel's long-term goal for peace with all this? Their idea of a roadmap for peace is when there's no more Palestinians left to kill, then we will no longer have to kill Palestinians. I wish I could tell you otherwise. I wish I could tell you that, but the trajectory of history is pretty clear in this regard. The only way I see things getting better is if this country refused to elect a political leader, a president, who continues to materially support Israel and logistically support Israel. But the electorate of this country is completely selfish. They don't really care if their tax dollars are used to spill Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of innocent blood, as long as some lip service is paid to whatever domestic agenda they favor. They don't even care if they actually get the things they want domestically, but as long as the guy doing the genocide is paying some lip service to it, that's enough for them. They could not give less of a fuck about anyone but themselves. A selfish, stupid populace that does not give a fuck about any other human beings anywhere in the world. In fact, don't even care about other human beings in this same country unless they're part of the same political, dumb fuck, idiot team. That's the reality as I see it. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments below, but I'd much rather you just rightly and justly affirm what I said instead of being a stupid fucking retard. All right, love you all. Bye.